warm wishes to all of you. I should say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, because a lot of people have joined from Middle East, Africa, and even Southeast Asia, and many people from India also. So thanks for joining in. So today's focus of our webinar is going to be about how ATM channel analytics can deliver superior customer experience on your ATM channel. So when we talk about analytics, it's mostly about the data that you collect on the platform, what kind of data that you store into your database, and from that data, how are you able to extract various insights that you require. So particularly, there are various kinds of teams that are present in any large bank in the ATM department. Right? So one is the operations team, and the other is the business teams. So particularly the business teams are the ones which are more tuned towards all these data analytics. Many large banks, in fact, employ business analysts, and now these people are being called data analysts, right? So these people are well equipped to use advanced analytical softwares. A lot of tools out there in the market. One of the pioneers is Power BI, then Tableau, then Sensu. So many other different tools have emerged over the last decade for business intelligence and analytics. So in this context, in Vortex, we have this product called Perfo, which is an ATM management and monitoring system, right? So even Perfo collects a lot of data from the ATMs about how well is these machines performing, what is the status of these hardware devices in each of these ATMs, the card reader, EPP, PIN pad, the journal printer, what is the supply status, what is the device status. All of these details are collected at real time and reported, right? So, but that is part of the incident management process. Okay? So when there are some incidents, then instant identification of the problem, and followed by that a ticket creation, and the ticket has to be dispatched to that particular engineer or the responsible person who should resolve that particular ticket when it requires a manual intervention. And with that intimation, it also carries a message that this particular ticket has to be resolved in so-and-so timeline, right? So, and based on the timeline, are they resolving it in the particular time? That really determines the availability of your ATM channel, right? The sooner the issues are resolved, you have better chances of higher uptime of your ATM network. So it becomes all the more important to collect this data. First of all, there should be any analytics is based on the data that is stored in the system. It should be about current performance of your ATM network as well as the past performance of your ATM network. So typically, any system will store about 3 to 6 months of performance data analytics, right? So only in other larger systems, probably like your internal core banking or your switching systems and all these kind of other systems might require a larger data storage, but typically in an ATM monitoring or a network monitoring kind of environments, 6 months storage is what most banks seek for, 3 to 6 months. Okay, particularly to keep a tab on the performance of their ATM fleet. If there is new addition of ATMs, then they would want to see how well is these machines performing with respect to the older batches of purchases. And obviously the vendors or the service providers who the banks have tied up with, they provide the service, they do the AMC, they replace the parts. If there is any fault, they go and they send field engineers, they go rectify the fault, right? So are they working or are they delivering on their SLA terms any managed service provider or a service provider, when he ties up with a financial institution, he ties up with a contract. The contract has obligations in terms of service delivery and the SLA terms, right? So this PERFO system is tailored towards capturing all this data with respect to performance of the machine, meaning the ATM, its hardware components, as well as the service providers, right? So this is what is about the data collection. Once that is collected, then there is some analysis that has to be done. And then over the analysis, you get some interpretation, you get some insights and intelligence. Right? So that is what we will go through. I will introduce you our analytics platform that we have, and I will show you how to make use of that analytic platform to do your own dashboarding, do your own reports, your own alerting. All of these things we will see today. Okay, so all of these things, what does it fall under? Finally, it falls under your digital transformation agenda and the automation of your processes, performance measurements. All these things fall under this bigger umbrella of digital transformation and automation. Okay, so that being the introduction, let me first introduce what Vortex is about, what this company is about, and then we'll just a brief introduction. Although most people are aware of what Vortex is, there are some newbies who may not be aware. So Vortex Engineering is based in Chennai, India. We are primarily an OEM of cash dispensers, ATMs, and also we have a software product which is called PERFO, which I talked about in the initial slide, which is a multi-vendor ATM management product, ATM monitoring product. Multi-vendor meaning it can manage a fleet of NCR, Depot, Wincor, Perto, Hewson, GRG, or Vortex machines, or any kind of self-service device can be managed through this multi-vendor ATM management solution. So over the years of research and R&D that we have done in building our own ATMs, right from 15 years back when we started this company with a groundbreaking technology, very, very different from other large OEMs in the world, we came up with a unique cash dispenser technology. We hold about a dozen patents in this technology, and with the other important factor of we choosing Linux as the operating system on our ATM led to the lowest total cost of ownership in the industry. We delivered the lowest total cost of ownership to the banks. Primarily, we started off in India and then we expanded to Middle East, Africa, and Southeast Asia. This is where we are. Okay, so that's a brief introduction about our company as such. So now this webinar as such is focused on this product line called PERFO, which is, as I said, is a self-service terminal management and monitoring solution. So just like any other competitor solution, we provide the all basic necessities of any ATM management system, like general records management, incident and SLA management, availability monitoring, cash level monitoring, content distribution, and finally business analytics. Today's focus is more about business analytics in terms of terminal performance, transaction performance, and vendor performance. Okay, so let me not go too deep into the other aspects. What this product addresses, the key challenges that it addresses is from a regulatory standpoint. We make your bank comply with the central bank regulations on dispute resolution and the TAT that you offer on the dispute resolution, thereby increasing your customer satisfaction and also reducing the penalties if it is imposed by your central banks. Then there is cash optimization procedures. Then overall risk of downtime can be reduced and to increase in availability through better monitoring methods. And your security and systems compliance with respect to audits in terms of upgrades, latest software, Windows versions. All of these require a little bit of asset management that is also supported through this platform. Then finally, business revenue is triggered through more about insights that you derive from the data that you collect from the system. Okay. Finally, staff empowerment is done through through our mobile application. We have a powerful mobile application which aids you to access the data right on your mobiles. You be at home or office or in a conference room, anytime, anywhere you have access of data of your uptime of your ATMs and the tickets, any status of particular ATM or any service engineer updates. All things are available in your fingertips on your mobile phone itself. Okay, so I will stop here about a brief introduction about the product while I jump into a real-time demonstration of the analytics platform. First, I will show what is their default into the product Perfo portal, and then we'll go into the analytics platform as such. Okay, one second. So let me log in as an admin login. Okay. This is the Perfo product with its own set of dashboards. So first, I would like to show you what is there existing in this portal before I jump into the analytics platform. Okay. So basically, we have 4 different monitoring dashboards. Any ATM network, the ATM heads want to know what is the current status of their ATM network, particularly how many machines are in service, out of service, how many machines are connected, disconnected, or how many machines have hardware faults, and what is the cache status particularly, right? And obviously, the uptime is one other key thing, right? And what is the top fault contributors also? Anytime you would want to know, why is my ATM network down? Why is the uptime this much? And why is the downtime this much? And this downtime, who are the major contributors to this downtime? Is it because of cash dispenser faults, or is it because of your network? Machines are out of service, not able to reach the switch, or it could be other hardware devices that could be causing issues, right? So this dashboard shows that kind of data. How is this data collected? It is through our monitoring methods. Either we can extract data directly from the ATM through XFS based monitoring through our agent based model, or if your switches can provide an interface into the data that they have in their database, we can interface directly to the switch and produce these analytics also, because switches also have quite a lot of information about ATM's current status, device status, and a little bit of performance also. Okay. However, switches do not store the status changes or a history of your ATM status changes over the past 3 to 6 months or so, or available 100% online in your server, because anytime the ATM, being a hardware device, it's out in the streets and it could get sabotaged. It can have hard disk failures, power failures, UPS issues, power trips, so many things that could destroy the hard disk data that is there in the ATM, right? So ATM as such should be like a backup for the data, but as soon as the data is created, as soon as the transaction happens on the ATM, that particular information should be available in your servers, which means that from the ATM, the journal should flow easily in real time from the ATM to the servers immediately. So that's what Perfo does, right? So we have live EJ pulling as the transactions are happening. The electronic journals are pushed. The incremental content that gets written into the journals gets pushed incrementally to the server, and you see the live journals in the server. So live is fine, but then you also need to track. Let's say you have a fleet of about 1,000 ATMs. Out of these 1,000 ATMs, how many ATMs are or sending these electronic journals in real time. If there is a failure, then you could even set thresholds. For example, you know that typically your uptime is probably about 99.5%, whatever, and you know that about 1% of the ATM machines or 2%, 3% of the ATM machines could be down at any point of time. So you can set thresholds that, okay, when this is the down percentage that I expect on a day-to-day basis, and anything that goes above this is an alerting condition, right? So alert is an important thing, because even though you have systems which can display these dashboards in full and graphical neat fashions, you would put a large LCD TV in your monitoring cell in your office, and who's going to stare at those LCD screens to keep looking at what changes in those charts and pie charts and all these fancy things that you see on the dashboard is not of much use unless there is an alerting mechanism and there is a reporting mechanism, right? So that is what we will see, how this alerts and reports can be set up and performed. Okay, so I'm just talking right now about the kind of data that you really look for, the kind of data that you want any monitoring system to collect, and then we'll go into the analytics tool. Okay, so we talked about EJs. Now let us talk about incident management per se. As I said in the beginning, incident management is about availability monitoring, being able to detect the problems first, and after detection, creation of a ticket, assignment of these tickets, dispatching of these tickets, and then ensuring that the tickets are getting closed through reminders, escalations, and all these workflow procedures. Correct? So, which means that there is people involved in this. So, people meaning people are assigned tickets, and they have a stipulated time by which this ticket has to get closed. If it is not closed, there's reminders, escalations which happen. So at any point of time, any bank would want to know how many tickets were raised on this particular vendor, okay, over the last 1 month, and how many has he closed within the SLA terms, or within the TAT, and how many has he not been able to close. Okay, this will allow them to sit with the vendor, understand what went wrong, and then correct it over time, over the next few months, and get it back to normal. So this means that continuous monitoring of your tickets, closure of your tickets, on-time closure of your tickets has to be done in real time, so that you are able to keep a tab on the performance of your ATM network, because that is relying on the people's effort. Who are these people? These people are either your own bank's custodians, ATM custodians who are employed with the bank. Maybe they are in the branch offices, or it could be your service providers. It could be Diebold, who has a direct service provided in your country, or it could be the Diebold service partners who are doing the AMC services and down call services in your region. Okay, so whatever be it just boils down to set of organizations, including the bank being an organization by itself, and it has its own custodians who look after the ATM, or it could be your cash loading agencies. If you outsource the cash loading, then it could be they taking rounds in their armored vehicles to load cash. So they also have an SLA compliance that they should do. And finally, the service providers. It could be NCR or Diebold directly, or it could be the partners of NCR or Diebold, or authorized partners in your country who's serving the banks. So this is how you generally look for data, insights, alerting, reports. All of these things should be in a monitoring system. You would want these things to be available. Okay, so this having said about all these things, now let me jump into the analytical system. and just give a brief introduction about this particular system, and then I will move on to the functionality. Let me just make this into a full screen. Okay. Vivek, are you able to see the screen?
Yeah, sir, it's visible, sir.
Monitoring dashboard, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So let me introduce this new platform. It is called Metabase. Okay. You can search for this product online. It's called Metabase. It is an open source analytics system which we have chosen as our standard way of doing analytics for our customers. Okay, so in this Metabase system, we are replicating the complete set of dashboards that I showed you. Before this, I showed you a set of dashboards which are pre-integrated as part of the Perforce web page itself, right? So the same thing is available on your mobile apps. So those are the most critical dashboards. But other than that, for your reporting requirements and for your alerting requirements, this is the tool which we are advocating. Okay, so this is a general business intelligence tool. This is an open source tool, very excellent tool, which is kind of like a do-it-yourself kind of tool. So your business analysts or your data analysts can make use of this system to not only pick data from a Perforce database. You can actually connect this whole Metabase software to pull information from your switches database also. Let's say your switch is based on Oracle database or an MS SQL Server database, then it also has data stored in an RDBMS, right? So this data, if you know the table structure, the key important tables, the transaction data, the type of transaction reversals or transaction decline, all of these data that is typically stored in your switch is also in the form of tables, right? RDBMS tables. So this Metabase system, actually what it does is, it is a system which can pick data from any RDBMS. How? Through simple SQL. So you can connect this Metabase system to any SQL database, RDBMS. You can connect it to your Oracle servers, or you can connect it to your MS SQL servers, or in the case of Vortex's Perform, we use Postgres open source database. So I have connected it to Postgres open source database. So what it does is, it uses plain simple SQL to fetch data directly from the database. So it's an independent system. Perfor is a server by itself, and Metabase is its own different server. Although these two can be deployed on the same VM, but these two are two different applications, and the only point of interface or convergence is through the database. Okay, so as you can see here, the same chart that you saw there in the Perfor system, this Perfor web interface, they are replicating that here in this monitoring dashboard. One thing which is done extra here, as you could see here, is the top fault contributors. As you can see here, there is a baseline goal line drawn here. Okay, why this goal line? Let me show you. Right, there is top fault contributors here, and as it says here, this question is written in SQL. So you can open an editor, and that will show you the actual SQL statement. This may be a little overwhelming to few, but with practice, or even if we have people here in our organization who can help you set up these things. There is a setup that we provide by default, but banks do want some customization done, right? Many times. So at that point of time, we from our team, we will be able to clearly set up the SQL data for you. Okay. So as you could see here, this is the SQL. Okay. Now coming back, this goal line. Let me show you the goal. Okay. So here, what I have done is I have set up a goal line here, which means that any of these problems, like for example, dispenser fatal or out of service or car reader problems, when it goes above this particular number, okay, so it need not be an absolute number. If this had been a percentage also, you can give it in terms of a percentage. So so when it crosses this particular goal line, or you can call it a threshold, Metabase calls it a goal. So let's call it a threshold. So if in your network, if the dispenser falls over your, let's say you have 100 ATMs, out of which if more than 10 ATMs land in a dispenser fatal, you think that is an alarming condition for you. So you want to set some thresholds. You want to set your own KPIs, right? That at any point of time, not more than 10 ATMs will be down, or not more than 10% of my ATMs will be down, right? So in that case, you set this goal line with a predetermined value. Okay, once you set that, then you go and define an alert condition. Okay, so this alert, one second, let me show you the alert. So here, this is the alerting rule where reaching the goal line, once it goes above or goes below the goal line, you can set however you want. Either it is above or below or reaches it, you can define these conditions. And when it first time crosses it, or every time when it crosses it, you can set all these things. And then finally, you can say, when do you want this evaluation to be done? How often should we check for these results, right? So do you want to check this on a daily basis, hourly basis, or a weekly basis? Based on the type of report, you know what kind of check you want to have. So this customization can be done. And when it checks, and if the goal line is breached, then you can send a report. At what time? It is, let's say 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. or whatever. You choose the time, and finally say to whom should this email be triggered to. So if you have an email alias of your monitoring team or a bunch of people, you can give their email IDs here. We even support Slack notifications also, but normally banks use email IDs. So this is how the alerts are set. So once this alert is set, then whenever the threshold that you have chosen, when the threshold breaches, then you will get an immediate email with the details of the same chart will be available in the email content. I will tell you which are those offending attributes. So this is about alerting. Okay. So now let's get back to a few other things. This is a monitoring dashboard. Here, now let's see how do we do reporting. Okay, we talked about threshold setting, and then threshold crossing alerts, how it can be sent over emails, and the evaluation time, all these things we saw. So you can set these on any of these charts. So graphically, you are building a dashboard, and in that dashboard graphically you are able to set the thresholds yourself. At any time you can come and alter these thresholds also as you wish, as you see fit. Okay, so let us look at reporting. Okay, so other than these alerts, when do you require alerts? Alerts are required for actions to be taken. That is why you have a set of people to which the alert is sent, and they are expected to take some actions based on it. Correct. So, but there are higher level managers, or it could be department heads, who are interested to know on a weekly basis what are my KPIs, are they well in control, and is my ATM's network performance uh, in the same standard that I expect it to be, right? So they require reports. So how you can send these reports is through the subscriptions. So through subscriptions, you can add reports. So typically here even it is through email. Through email, you can send this whole dashboard. So you have set up a dashboard, and the same dashboard you can have it sent over an email, either weekly, hourly, or monthly, whichever form you want. You can set it up, and the time at which it has to be sent, or if you want an email to be triggered right now also, you can use this to trigger it immediately and send an email to a particular person. Okay, and then if you want to do some filtering also based on this, for example, this dashboard is showing the complete fleet of your ATMs. So if you just think that I just want this for a particular region, you can set such filters through this dashboard. Okay, then in that email, do you want to attach the results of this as either a CSV or an Excel sheets? Normally Excel sheets are more user friendly, so you can choose Excel as format itself, and you say which are the reports that you want. Here in this chart there are 4 reports, so you can choose to send all 4 or maybe a few of them. Okay, so this is the way to do it. Like, you can send these as reports and you'll get it in there, and the head of the departments can be added in this subscriptions, and they will get the emails periodically as per what you have chosen. Okay, so that is the periodic reporting. Okay, so periodic reporting is different, and alerting is a different thing. Alerting thing happens, let's say hourly, you can evaluate it, and once the evaluation identifies a particular breach, then it could happen at any time, not at fixed intervals. So that's what alerting is about. Okay, so now how about you wanting to customize your dashboards? Like, for example, here in this case, what we have done is we are providing you a dashboard that we think is relevant to you, right? But then you as a bank, maybe you are used to some procedures of your own, and you want a little bit different kind of reports, and you want to customize the reports or rearrange the reports, things like that. So that is where this system allows you a very good level of customization on the reports. So here you can do add questions. Right now there are 4 questions added into this. So here each of these dashboard item is an analytical question. Okay, database terms this as a question. Okay, so what is the question in this particular dashboard? Which devices are the top fault contributors? Right, this is the question. Right. Similarly, if you think of adding a new type of chart or a new way of representing it, new way of looking at this data, then you can also add a new question, and once you add it, then you choose which. So if you just like, what I did is from the pre-existing questions, I just picked up one more type of representation. This is a pie chart kind of representation, and you just want a similar thing, but in terms of the count. This is showing in terms of percentage, and now I have turned it into count based. How many machines are cash flow? How many machines are sufficient with cash? How many machines have run cash empty? So now here, this allows you to also drag and drop you could see, you can drag these. You can grab this chart here, and you can probably want to put this. So you can even rearrange and add as many questions as you want into a particular dashboard. So the whole layout of the dashboard itself is in your full control. The set of tables that are there are available to you. There are some standard set of questions that we have pre-built into the system, which will be available to you. Okay. And other than that, if you require additional type of reports, you can obviously add a new question. How to add new questions is through the simple menu like new and add a new question. Okay, so here you choose the database into which the this Postgres is the Perfo database. So I've chosen that database. Now let's say I want to look up from the tickets table. So now I just want to see what is the kind of data in that ticket table. So it shows me the current set of data in the ticket table. As you could see here, there's a description, ticket ID, when was it created, all this data is available. It's a preview data. So now into this, you can join even other tables. So from the ticket table, let's say we want to ATM device table. Okay. So here, automatically, based on the relationship between these two tables, it will automatically correlate. This is a very good thing about this software called Metabase, which allows you to get this thing pre-populated easily. Okay. So once that is done, then the data will start showing you data from both these tables merged together. Okay. So correlated through that one single column. Okay, so once you have this full data merged between two tables, then you can add filters. For example, you just want to see some set of let's say create date. Based on create date, last 7 days. Last 7 days alone, you want to see which ATMs were added in the database. Okay, these are the ATMs which were added in the last 7 days. Okay, which is hardly about some 7 or 8 ATMs. Similarly, you can also pick a metric that you want. Count of rows is like a pivot table, right? So through your Excel reports, I'm sure you must have gone through a lot of pivot table kind of data. Okay, so here I can do status-wise count of ATMs. Okay, so this is how new set of questions, new set of dashboards can be created through the system, and you can save it. Once you save it, it's available as a new type of question, and this question can then be added into any of the dashboards. Okay, so that is what this tool is about, and you can bookmark some of your queries. So you can just have your dashboards around bookmarked, so you can see the tickets, the monitoring dashboards, incident dashboards, EJ dashboards, and all of these standard things. Plus your questions or collection. The questions will actually be called as questions can be aggregated into collections. So for example, under this collections of incidents, we have so many different types of questions arranged in it. So TAT-wise open tickets, timeline-based tickets, status-wise open tickets, any kind of grouping that you can do. So that's why I call this as a do-it-yourself tool. So once your data analysts or your business analysts get used to this, they can fetch whatever data they want from the database directly, and you can set your own thresholds, you can set your own reports, and you can have even custom dashboards. Just let's say the analysis team, they just want some set of reports which the operations team doesn't bother about. No problem. They can have their own set of reports saved and sent to their own teams independently. Operations team don't need to have access to this data at all. Or operations team, when they look at it, they are more worried about today's problems, right? So they're not bothered about the long-term performance problems of the machine, because they're firefighters. If there is something happening today, they got to go and resolve it right now. So they're mostly working on a weekly timelines. But the business teams look at it from a longer timeline, like months and years together. So the kind of reports that they require versus operational teams requires is quite different, and hence you can have multiple logins into the system, and each one having their own set of reports and dashboards and alerts. Everything can be done through this platform. Okay, so with this, I think we are running out of time. 45 minutes is what I wanted to target for, and have 10 minutes of questions. So let me go back. Okay, so we just finished the demo of the platform, and as I said, the platform is an open source tool, Metabase, and this is a tool which, if you get well with, if you understand it and start using it, you can even use it to report data from any database. It can be your switches database, transaction data, any kind of data that if you can understand the table contents in the database, sky is the limit for any kind of reports that you want to build from the system. Okay, so we have carefully chosen this tool, knowing fully well that the kind of requirements our customers have, and this tool is very suited to almost all of our customers to enhance their processes. Okay, so now I'm open to questions. So please unmute yourself. Thanks for staying muted for so long. I hope I didn't bore you up. I hope it was quite interesting for many of you. So, so I'm opening the floor for questions. So please. Does anyone have a question? Was there anybody who wrote anything in the? Okay, I don't see anything in the chat box. So, who was it?
Are you ready?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, this is Peter Olo.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, can you hear me?
Peter. Yes, Mr. Peter, I'm able to hear you. Please speak up.
Yes, okay, thank you. Yes, thank you for the presentation. I was asking about the monitoring dashboard, both the Perfo and the Metabase dashboard. I noticed on your Perfo dashboard that it didn't seem to be automatically refreshing, which would be a bit of an issue for somebody who is using a monitor on the wall. Is there an option for auto refresh?
In Metabase, there is an option to do an auto refresh. So you can even set up the interval by which it will do a refresh in terms of minutes. Does that answer your question, Mr. Peter? You do have that capability.
I would have to find it. I think I'll check it if it is. Yeah, okay.
It's just on the top right. It's just on the top right corner of any dashboard. Does anyone else have any questions?
Sir, is there any participant has got any questions? Please, we are open to give your answers.
Yeah, very good afternoon, sir. It is Ravi Kumar calling from AppCom. And really thank you for the presentation. And just I had a small question, sir. Will there be any dependency on CBS and switch for using this monitoring tool?
No, sir. There is no dependency on CBS or the switch. So we extract all data directly from the ATM through our agent. So there's a Perfo agent installable that needs to be installed into your ATMs. So all data is directly collected from the ATM itself.
And can this tool be used for other ATMs like Hosang also? Because one of our DCB had recently taken Hosang ATM.
Yes, sir. It doesn't matter which kind of ATM it is. NCR, Debol, Wincar, any ATM, the solution works.
Actually, our banks have majority of, 99% Vortex ATMs only. Just wanted to.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So there is no dependency on either CBS or switch, right?
Yes.
Actually, recently we have migrated from Sarvatra to CH. That's the reason we.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We don't have
very
any
much.
such dependency, sir. Thank you, sir. Any other questions before we close?
Such a way.
So, are we have any other questions? Please, we are open to reply to all your questions. Is there any other questions?
I think I'm sure it must have been useful to a lot of people. So have a nice weekend. Thank you very much.
Yeah, sorry, sir. Sorry, a small query.
Yes, sir.
Thing is, our new switch vendor is requesting for providing the EJs. For reconciliation purpose. He's requesting to enable SSH port at the ATM level. So just wanted to have your thought in that with respect to the security aspects, sir, because you will be dealing with this from many years.
Yes, sir. On our Linux ATM, we do have an SSH server, but from the initial days, our philosophy has been that if you allow remote login into the system, it could pose some unnecessary hassles because so it is disabled by default. So we do not allow remote logins into the machine, and that is where the Perfo system comes in, which allows you to do every operation that you want to do remotely onto the ATMs. Unlike Windows, you have RAdmin, so you can directly take the desktop of the ATM itself remotely and get into the admin panel and all these stuff. So this, we consider it as a security risk. And most of the banks do not allow RAdmin at all into the ATM because it has caused problems to them in the past. Likewise, SSH also, although it is secure shell, if somebody has the credentials to it, they could do whatever they want to do on the ATM and it could land up in issues. That's why we have it disabled.
Sir, is there any, as per your knowledge, is there any RBI related norms or something in case if you have any in your knowledge?
RBI particularly does not say or does not comment anything about SSH per se, but generally it says that remote access should be restricted.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hello everyone, my name is Alan Bro. I just have a little request.
Yes, sir.
Can we have, the record of this presentation or any document, any bit about this? for those who joined lately the session?
Yes, definitely. We will send the presentation material as well as the documentation of our product user. May I know which country are you from?
I'm from Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast. Okay. Abhinandan, can you please make note of his name and get in touch with him?
Sir, I will take care of it. He's from
Okay.
I will take care of it.
Yes, Mr. Alan, we'll get back to you on this. We will send the details to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Reddy, I believe we have done our session. So we have requested for the question. So we can carry on this.
Yeah. Yes. So thank you very much for your time. So let's, if there is any inquiries on the product, please write an email to marketing@vortexindia.co.in. We will be, and you can talk to our salespeople also. We'll be happy to help you in whichever way we can. Thank you so much for attending and have a nice day.